Alright, so it's been about a week since I've had a chance to even mess with this thing. I need to go ahead and put the tensioners in this guy. And I've just got, these plastic tensioners that go in. And one for the top and a long one. In my kit, it came with this extra tensioner assembly thing. I'm assuming they put that in there so it can cover multiple models of engines or something, multiple years. So I apologize for the fan noise, but it is hot and humid. I'm probably going to need something to tap with and pry with. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of get under here, pry this chain down a little. This thing fitting. Just kind of tap her in. Just had to get it over that little ridge there. And so this guy goes down in here. Make sure you can see. So I just gotta get this guy hooked onto the chain too. Tap her in there. Alright, that one's in. So now I gotta do the big long one down this side. Okay. Alright, so now that looks like that's pretty well in there. I'm going to tap this bottom part in a little better. Nice tight. That's got pretty good tension on the chain. It's just a little bit loose right down there by the shoe. But everything still looks like it's in perfect time. So now I got to get down here with the screwdriver and try to release this tensioner. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but you can't get to this tensioner from the bottom. I just need to get down on here and put some pressure on it and pick this thing out. There it goes. Yep, she's out. So it's that. I'll show you here. There's the tensioner. I just had to get the pry bar right there in between that shoe and the tensioner and to give it a hard push, and it clicked and popped right up. So I tried it first with the big long screwdriver, but I needed something that had a little bit of an angle to it to catch the edge of it. So that means everything here is kind of wrapped up for the timing chain. Everything's still in time. What I'm going to do next is just get a towel and some carb clean or brake clean or whatever, and just clean off all of these mating surfaces. Clean this gasket surface off and then clean the gaskets themselves. The book actually says to clean and inspect these and reuse them. Only replace them if they're cracked or broken. These look pretty good. So that's what I'm going to do, because they're not stocked anywhere local and they're insanely expensive for what they are. Like I had to get them AC Delco ones, and it was going to be like $110. So evidently they don't replace those very often. Okay, so I have gone ahead and cleaned my gaskets off and inspected them, make sure they're not damaged, which is what the book says to do. And I cleaned the surfaces off here and here, and I'm ready to go ahead and start putting this cover back on now. So one of the first things I want to do is go ahead and pull these pins out of here now that everything is set. It's tight. That one. There's that one. Those didn't move at all when I pulled those out. That's a good sign. So I'll go ahead and put my middle gasket here back on first, and just get this set in here. This has got two studs that goes on to hold it in place. So now our outer gasket. We've got one stud over here. It's got a couple spots down at the bottom. Well, let me take you down there and show you. Right here we've got this little pin right there that this slides onto, and another one right over here that holds that bottom part in place. Okay, so I'm going to move some stuff out of my way. Oh, there. I don't see my seal came out. I just want to pick that up, and this seal for the harmonic balancer came out. The seal looks good. It wasn't leaking at all. I'm just not sure if it was supposed to come out that easy. It's been replaced before. You can tell somebody's been prying on it here. Looks like they tried to replace it from the outside, maybe. Well, let's see if I can get this to seat back down in there. Now that's even. So I just have to get that seal back in place. Alright. Now, let me move you back over so you can see what I'm doing. So I get this thing sent over the harmonic balancer shaft. I got a couple studs on the outside and in the middle. There. I say harmonic balancer sound. How about crankshaft? Okay, and start a couple of these bolts in here, just to make sure she stays in place. Alright, so I'm just going to go get some tools, and I'm just going to go around and basically tighten all these bolts to hold this cover on. Okay, so I've got to pull this alternator off, and that's because I'm replacing this belt tensioner down here because it's sitting a little sideways. So I got me a new one, a Goodyear Gatorback one. Got this on eBay pretty cheap. Now they make them with the whole bracket and everything, or just the tensioner part. So I just got this because it's a lot cheaper. This is like 20 bucks versus the whole thing was like 50. So I think the only problem with it is just it's messed up in the middle and it's at an angle. So I'm going to take that alternator off so I can get down to that tensioner and get that out of there and get that replaced. It looks like there's just a 50mm bolt here. That out. A big long one. And it looks like there's a 15mm bolt right down here. Oh, it's kind of like halfway in between a deeper and shallow. Nice. Break it loose. Get it broken loose. There's that. So there is another bolt on this guy. I remember now, doing this before. You gotta have a 15mm shallow, a nice long extension. Then you gotta kind of flex this hose and get it in between the first intake runner there and this hose, and you can get down on that bolt right there. I can't get the camera down there to really show you, but a shallow will be too tall and it will hit the intake runner. Well, that's my favorite ratchet. There we go. Now, alternator's nice and loose. I'm not going to unhook the power wire unless I have to. I think I can get it out of my way enough. Now, wow. I'm going to have to go ahead and unhook that power wire and get this all the way out of here. Alright, so down here is the belt tensioner. And this thing looks like it has two bolts. Comes through the AC compressor, bolt there, and then we'll get that thing out of there, and then I can replace this part with the pulley. I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a, I think it's your purge solenoid here, and then there's a bolt right here. You got to get that bolt off, and then the big bolt underneath comes off, or this nut comes off. Then there's a bolt underneath of it. We'll get the purge solenoid out of our way. And it looks like we're going to need a 15 milli deep. I'll get this other bolt off. That big long bolt that goes all the way through the air compressor. And then there's one more of them over here. This one I can use a shallow one. In fact, I'll have to use a shallow to get it out. Here. Okay, there's the other long bolt. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and do here. Just see if I can get this up out of here. There we go. Now there's that. Now somehow this is supposed to come apart. Not exactly sure how. Yeah, this is way too wide. Well, I got to tore apart this part. It might be time for a trip to AutoZone. Okay, so hopefully you can see down in here a little better now. I've got this part, the correct one now, from Advanced Auto Parts. Hot off the boat from China. But yeah, this was the correct belt tensioner. The other one I had was the wrong one. Apparently, they use both styles of tensioners in this particular year. And there's no, like, is it a such and such VIN or certain series of engine or something. They just use both styles. I don't know, maybe there was an option on one for something different. And they, you know, and it had a different belt setup. I don't know. Let me get this in here. Tight little fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bolts to get right here through this AC compressor. That one goes in the front. Hang on. Now I just got to tighten these in. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these bolts up and then I'll be back. Okay, so the tensioner's all bolted back in there now. I'll go ahead and put my alternator back on. Plug this in. Take my lock washer and nut off. See if I can get this kind of sitting where it's going to sit. Okay. Sweet. That's this bolt. And then this bolt goes down here. And then the bolt back here. Get to grab a couple threads. Alright, there we go. And now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten those bolts all up, and then I'll be back. Okay, so now the I think this is the purge solenoid bolts here on this front bolt here for this alternator, or head bolts on this front pump that comes through the belt tensioner and the AC compressor. Tight. Alright. So that gets that all put back together. So now I think it's time to do the harmonic balancer. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get I have this bolt in here so I could turn it and to get the camshafts in position and everything. So I'm just going to zip that bolt out of there. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to put this harmonic balancer on. I put a little bit of PV blaster in the middle, help it slide in there. Now, I always like to tap these home. I don't like using the bolt to try to draw it in because you run the risk of snapping the bolt off in the crank. Then you got a mess. So, I'm just going to keep tapping on that until it's sent home. It's moving, but real slow. I'll be back. I got that tapped home. My big washer back on there. Put the bolt in. Rather than trying to hold this with something and torque it and all that, I'm sure there's a torque spec. I'm just going to torque it right to factory specs with my impact wrench. I'm just going to put this on the lowest setting. I'm not too worried about this. I had to hammer on it pretty good to get it off of here. That should be fine. I don't want to go any tighter than that. I don't want to break it off, and I don't think it's going to come loose. Should be good to go. Okay, so I got my AC line here kind of all put back in place, and I am ready. Go ahead and zip it, just cover it here. Let's put it back into place. Okay, I got me some new plastic clip things here. These things are like $3 for two. So I'm gonna wait till I actually hear this running before I put that inner fender cover thing back on, just so in case I did have to tear this apart again. That way I'm not wasting those, because I'd probably destroy them getting them back out again. I think as much as they charge for them things anymore, buying that little special tool at Harbor Freight might be a good investment. Okay, so I got my belt. Yeah, I probably should have drew an arrow on here so which way it was on or whatever, but I never do, and I never have any problems. I believe this thing will go on two ways. And there's a right way and a wrong way, and I gotta remember. This right here. There we go. Yep, that's right. Okay, so I had a viewer comment on the part 1 video that he couldn't get these bolts out past this metal part, right? And you can see there's definitely a clearance issue on these bottom ones here. So what you got to do is you got to move this engine up as far as it will go. So let me make sure my cruise control ain't all bound up over there. Okay. So now you just got to get a piece of wood and a jack. Let me show you here. So I just got a piece of wood here between the jack and the oil pan, and then you just got to crank this baby up as far as you can get it to go. Okay, so now that I've jacked the engine up as far as it will go with the jack and the piece of wood, you take and put your bolt in this bracket a little bit and then slide it down in here. There is enough clearance. There is not enough clearance. If the bracket's still bolted on with the other bolts, you can't get that out. So you got to take the top two loose all the way out first, and then you can slip this one in or out with the bracket. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense.
Take it off.
There you go. You gotta turn it and then take it off. Now, so you gotta turn it this way, and it comes off, and it goes back on.
Oh, okay.
And then you turn it some more.
Alright, got it. It's hard getting it in.
Yeah. No, you turn it the wrong way. Turn it towards me.
Alright. Ow!
Nice and easy. Okay, take it off. Turn it, take it off. You gotta move it more than that. You gotta turn it. Okay, now take it off. You clear it back here. Put it on and turn it again. There you go. Now put it back on. We gotta get you good with these tools so you can come out here and fix the cars for Daddy.
Yep, that's it.
There you go. All right, high fives.
Yeah, you're.
High five.
It's oil grease.
I know, that's good for you. High five.
No thanks.
Come on.
No.
You gotta get greasy if you work on cars, man. All right. Okay. Now that is in. All right, Wesley. The timing chain's not a necklace. It's greasy. It's gonna get your shirt dirty. All right. I don't care. It's just it's gonna get your nice shirt all dirty.
Hey, you said you had to be greasy if you're fixing the car.
Well, yeah, but let's try not to get your nice shirt all greasy. That won't make Mommy very happy. Alright, so now we gotta put this motor mount back in here. Now I gotta lower the engine down just a smidgen. I'm gonna put these in as far as I can now.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, let me tighten this one.
Whoa!
Okay, so now these two bolts are snugged in tight. I'm gonna drop the motor down and it should fall down on these two bolts and we'll be set. Alright, stand clear, little man.
Ah.
We don't want the engine to fall on you. You pinch your finger. Oh, I felt a jack stand move. Hang on. Let's see what we got. Oh, no, we're good. You gonna put this one in like that?
No thanks.
Okay, fine. So what you want to do is try to keep the middle part centered. Put one hand down there on this part. No. Put one hand down here.
But I can't reach it.
There you go. Doesn't have to go all the way around, just keep turning it back. Put this bigger one on here and get them extra tight.
What?
We'll put this bigger ratchet on here and get them extra tight.
Wish I had it. Hold on.
There's a stool back in the shed. There's a gray one back there.
Gray one? Alright, I'll go get it. Wait for me.
Oh, there's plenty more for you to do.
Alright.
You gotta crank that back really hard. It's gonna be tight.
Alright, you're right.
So you gotta put one hand up here and hold it straight and crank on it real hard.
Alright, go. Ow, dang it.
Whoa! Don't hit the fender.
Fender?
Yeah, that's this thing. You don't want to dent that. You can make the customer mad.
Alright, I can't do it.
Alright, you want me to do it?
Alright.
Alright.
What about the third one?
There isn't a third one. It's just an empty hole. He chipped the paint. You're going to have to pay to fix that at a body shop.
Hey, it's only just a small scratch.
Chip the paint right there. The customer is going to be upset. That's going to come out of your allowance.
Hey, you already bought it.
It's probably going to be at least $200. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put this cruise control back in here. I believe this thing has this connector that goes over here, like so. And then this line came down through these two connectors. Alright, and then these two bolts went in here. You can see that. Maybe. Get it lined up. Okay, so now we're ready for the coolant tank, coolant reservoir. Alright, so I got my coolant tank. I gotta put this down here and get this hose on the bottom line. Bottom line here. Okay, it started. And there's an electrical connection on this guy. You can see right here. Got my wire right here that has to go on it. And I think that's going to kind of go down in here before you can even get that on. There we go. Right now, as you can see where I'm working, that bolt goes right in there. So we got these two hoses here put back on, and then this electric connector for the cruise. That's going to go back down over here on the other side. That gives me the needed clearance for everything. So let me get this thing put on here. Basically I gotta take those coil-on boots off and put them on each of these and drop the whole thing down in there together. So those are stuck down here on these plugs right now. We'll have to grab pliers and pull those out. Maybe. Come on. There. Goodness. Okay. And then yeah, you just click these on like so. Make sure those are in. I just gotta get the rest of them off, put those on, And this will go back down in here. I'll be back. Okay, so now I just gotta drop this down in here, make sure my connector is clear. There we go. I'll get it to where you kind of feel it lining up. Then we'll just throw our bolts in, tighten it down. That's one of the stupidest designs. It's problematic as heck. Okay, so now I just gotta tighten these down nice and snug. Okay, this, let's come back out over here. This comes right into here. Should be all set there. I'm gonna go ahead first and get all of these hose clamps back in place. There we go. Get sitting right back down on those original little indentations from the clamp. One more thing I got to do is replace this vacuum line that I believe was causing the original issue. I went ahead and just bought another piece of vacuum hose here at AutoZone. I'm just going to cut this in and get it on there. It goes right down in here. Like one part went up on this thing, which is the map sensor, I think. Another part went on the intake right down here. So I'm trying to see, I can feel where that goes. It goes right up here on the bottom. Okay, so I just got to get this down here on this spot. Might help if I pull this little electric connector off. Get that, at least get that out of my way. Okay, that's on there good. Now, I just gotta get it right around on there. I think I'm gonna cut it right about here. Okay, she's seated all the way back there. Looks like a good patch to me. Might be a hair long. That's better than a hair short. One thing I, of course, probably should have said is before you start a job like this, disconnect your battery cable. Especially if you're going to be taking alternators off. But yeah, no, I should get the right wrench. I'm using the redneck adjustable wrench here. Alright, so we're going to go see if it'll start. See what happens. I know that noise you're hearing is the AC compressor clutch. It's a little noisy, but I wasn't going to replace it till I see where the AC is leaking at first. Because if it needs a new compressor, I'll get one from the junkyard, and I'll just let them leave the clutch on it. But it's been making a little noise like that for a while. It does engage fine when it's got coolant in it, though. So that'll be the next thing here. Is I'm going to let it get good and warm, make sure there's no leaks, and then I'll be troubleshooting the cooling system next. But she's running. The belt is on there nice and straight now with that new tensioner. So, sounds pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's idling nice too. So I think that was that vacuum line. Sweet. Alright, you got anything you want to say, Wes? He's done a pretty good job with those wrenches. What do you think? Where are you going? Don't act like you're camera shy. You're not camera shy. What do you think, man? You helped put some of those bolts in there. Alright, well, it runs. It still has the rough idle problem once it warms up. But spraying some brake clean down around the intake and fuel injectors, I was noticing the idle was changing. So it may have a vacuum leak under there. But we'll see what happens, and then I'll keep you all updated.